Good evening. Welcome to this week's meeting of the Norton Board of Selectmen. Today is Thursday, August 23rd, 2018. Let the record show that 4 members are present. Mr. Salvo can't be with us tonight. And in attendance also is Town Manager Michael Units. Pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, nothing on the licenses and permits announcements. What do we have, folks? Mr. Bramwell?
Okay, we have a announcement of a blood drive being hosted by the LJ Car Wash, 412 Old Colony Road, Norton, Massachusetts. All aboard the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute Brigham and Women's Hospital Bloodmobile will be parked in front parking lot. Saturday, August 25th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Appointments. You can log on to tinyurl.com/LJCAR AUG 2018. For eligibility questions, you can email blooddonor@partners.org or call 617-632-3206. Appointments are recommended. Walk-ins taken as time allows. As a special thank you, donors will receive a Patriots Training Camp T-shirt. All successful donors will also receive a free car wash valued at $17. Photo IDs are required for new donors. Please be well hydrated, drink extra water, and eat before donating. So that's this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the LJ's Car Wash on Old Colony Road. I think that's all I have right now.
Mr. Steele, you have anything?
Nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Also, Mr. Chairman.
We got one here, Day of Remembrance Blood Drive on Tuesday, September 11th. Honor your hero and be a hero by donating blood. Join the American Red Cross, the Boston Red Sox, Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, and others to give the gift of life on Tuesday, September 11th from 5:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. at Fenway Park, Gate D, 4 Jersey Street, Boston, Massachusetts. All presenting blood donors will receive a commemorative T-shirt, a discounted Fenway Park tour, chance to win Red Sox tickets, and a free cup of clam chowder courtesy of Legal Seafoods. Plus, get your picture taken with World Series trophies, which will be on display at Fenway Park. If you have any questions, you can visit redcrossblood.org and enter Fenway, or you can call 1-800-RED Cross to get additional information. We have a number of vacancies on town boards and committees. The following have vacancy that exist: Commissioner on Disability, a Constable, Council on Aging, Cultural Council, Gold Star, Historic District Commission, Historical Commission, Industrial Development Commission, Norton Cable Access, the Open Space Committee, Town Common Revitalization Committee, the Water Bodies Committee, and the Zoning Board of Appeals. Residents interested in serving in these boards, committees, or commissions are requested to submit a letter of introduction and a statement of their qualifications at the Selectmen's Office, 70 East Main Street, Norton, Massachusetts. As far as qualifications go, folks, if you're interested in serving, please submit a letter. You know, we don't expect you to be an expert in any area of these. Some of these committees are pretty well staffed by people that know what they've been doing it for a long time. So if you want to get involved in any of those, please submit a letter of interest. And under new business, we have a request of Michael Wilson, the EMTP, Director of EMS Norton Fire Department, to vote to declare 2 Zoil X Series cardiac monitors with all the accessories as surplus equipment. Hi, Michael.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
So we got approved from the 5-year plan to upgrade our cardiac monitors and the AEDs with the last budget through the capital improvements. And so we've done that. We've upgraded all of them to state-of-the-art monitors. And basically what they offered us for a trade-in was really low. So we can get a lot more if we declare it surplus and then put in the municipal bids. And we can get, 10 times the amount of what they're going to offer as a trade-in as far as that. So in order to do that, we have to have you declare it surplus in order to do that. So there's 2 cardiac monitors that we're looking for you guys to declare.
So these have been replaced already?
Yes, they're already, the other ones are already on the trucks, so they're just basically, sitting there waiting for somebody to come and hopefully buy them.
I had a personal experience with one of these. Tell us a bit about what these things do.
They do everything, pretty much. The monitors now, they do the 12 lead EKG, which is a big thing. That started about 15 years ago. We're able to not diagnose a heart attack in the field, but at least it shows us some signs, and it gets us to go to a certain, to a cath lab rather than a local hospital. The one we go to most of the time is Good Samaritan. They actually just opened up a cath lab in Brockton. We used to go to Rhode Island Hospital, but now we're going there much more because it's 24 hours a day now that they're open. And it does the blood pressure, it does the pulse ox. It now does actually CO reading too, along with the pulse ox, which is a new thing, which is good, with the CO detectors and stuff like that. So now if someone, thinks that they're overcome by the CO, we can put them right on that monitor. It tells us whether they have any CO, which is important.
Yeah.
Before we had to do it with a separate monitor, but now it's all together. So,
Pretty neat stuff.
yeah, you can't get anything, these are brand new, you can't get them any newer.
My brother had a heart attack a few years ago, and he was about 8 miles from the hospital, Manchester, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And brought him to Catholic Memorial up there. And by the time they picked him up, and by the time he got to the hospital, they had already run this EKG on him. They knew where the blockage was. And an hour after he got to the hospital, he had a stent in, and he was back in a room. So what these machines do is they transmit the information ahead to the hospital.
Yep.
So the hospital knows exactly what they've got coming at them,
Yep.
which is, that is terrific.
It is. We
Well worth the money.
A lot of the hospitals, the cardiologist is actually jumping in the back of the ambulance when we get there to try to get the information, and we're wheeling them right to the cath lab, and literally they're within minutes of arriving there, which is, that's the name of the game. The quicker we can get somebody there and get them in the cath lab, that's going to give them the best chance of survival. And now having it at Good Samaritan, that saves a lot of time going to Rhode Island Hospital. We still go there depending on where we are, but that's a big deal having it so close.
How much training are you going to have to do in the new machinery? Is it much different? Or?
Not much, a lot of it's kind of like buying a Ford versus a Chevy. It really is. We had Zoll before. Some were happy, some weren't happy with it. A lot of the new guys, the new paramedics coming on, were using the Physio, which is the one we got, and kind of wanted that anyway. So it's kind of, it's transitioning over with a lot of the newer guys liking that unit, that style unit anyway. So everybody's happy that we got this unit. Well, these units, I should say. We also replaced all the AEDs too with this too. So, and those needed replacing. Those were about 10 years old. So all the trucks have those, and we were also able to, a couple of the old ones, we were able to donate them to different, we're going to give one to 120 West Main Street, and we're talking about maybe a couple of them to maybe the local churches or something like that.
Good. We appreciate all you guys do, and it's great that we're able to give you the equipment you need
Yes.
to do your jobs.
Yeah, we have some really good people, talented people, but like I said, the town's always been good to us with equipment, and it's just like anything, it's you can only do so much, but we have the best equipment anywhere, and that makes a difference. It really does.
Good to hear. Good. Anyone have anything?
No, I can never say enough about the ambulance responses that I had to endure with my wife. And the relief when you hear that ambulance coming down the road,
Yes.
to know that you're not alone.
Yep.
And we get emotional.
It's
about it.
okay.
It's good. It's
Knowing you're getting the best, too.
yes.
That helps.
Well, I knew once they got there, first of all, I was off the hook, and I knew that she was going to get the best care there was.
Yeah. Yep. You always have a vested interest with your own in town.
Okay, well, thanks so much, and we'll definitely put these on surplus.
Okay.
Chair, entertain a motion to declare 2 Zoll X-Series cardiac monitors with all the accessories as surplus equipment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
All right.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you very
Make a lot of
much.
money
Thank
on
you.
them.
Yeah, we will. We're gonna do really good.
And hopefully we'll go to a good cause.
And also, I also want to thank the board for what you sent me and the support my family got from everybody with the passing of my father. I appreciate that.
Yeah, he was a good guy.
Was.
I had a chance to meet him years ago, and we had some very interesting conversations.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No, he was a great guy.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care. Okay, next on the agenda, we have a proclamation to Library Card Sign-Up Month, September 2018. Mr. Bramwell,
I have to take my glasses off so I can
would you do
see.
the honors?
Okay, proclamation, September 2018, Library Card Sign-Up Month. Whereas a library card is the most important school supply of all, whereas libraries play an important role in the education and development of children, whereas library programs serve students of all ages from early literacy to homework help to GED classes, whereas libraries empower all people to pursue their interest, discover their passions, and achieve their highest potential as learners and citizens, whereas librarians bring communities together, creating welcoming and inclusive spaces for students of all backgrounds to learn together, whereas libraries are constantly transforming and expanding their services to meet the needs of the communities they serve, whereas libraries promote equity, making digital technology and information equally accessible to all. Now therefore, be it resolved that we, the Board of Selectmen, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2018 Library Card Sign-Up Month in the town of Norton. Encourage everyone to sign up for their own library card today. And that's signed by the Board of Selectmen.
Okay. So if I have a card that looks like this, I guess I can probably go back and
I
get it.
remember those, the green ones.
I think this one's been around a while, but it's still got the barcode on it, so that means it still works, right? I'll have to go by and get myself a new library card.
Still has Latin on it.
This one's etched in granite, so. Okay, anyone have any questions? Actually, it's just a proclamation, so. Okay. Next on the agenda, we have Water Sewer Commissioners. Actually, we have Mr. Bernie Marshall here to talk about the water quality update. Mr. Marshall, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Chairman, distinguished board. So we had an DEP update that I had to deliver to the community. It's the first ever since I've been superintendent. We had to notify that we have a high concentration of manganese coming out of a few areas in town. We take 12 samples every month, and we also take 5 well samples every quarter. Up until now, I've only had to let, in my consumer confidence report, I've only had to report the highest one all year. Now, what the DEP has found is that manganese can contribute to early development, challenge children. So what they've asked is that in public water systems such as ours, that if we have a high concentration of manganese, that we let the townspeople know that they shouldn't be using the tap water for infant formula and making bottles. And I'll have to do that on a quarterly basis from going forward.
Until you get the plant built.
Until we get the plant open, and the plant is on schedule right now. We've just laid some pipe from Plain Street into the property, and they're actually going to start working on digging some foundation and probably putting some rebar in by, I'd say, the second week of September.
Hopefully they move along as fast as that new building at Wheaton College is moving. That thing is.
If we could,
going up over-
believe me, if it could go that fast, I'd be very, very, very happy
If you had
man
more
right now.
money, I think it might help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we also have Reservoir Street. I don't know if you've noticed the temporary water main on Reservoir Street. We're just waiting for that, for the bacteria samples to come back clean. As soon as they come back clean, then that will temporarily feed our residents from Elm Street to, to Mansfield Avenue. And the contract will be in, they'll start to replace that main.
How long is it going to take them to do that, do you know?
They said until, they asked me to give them until Halloween.
Okay.
So, and also, coming up next town meeting, I'm also asking for a pipe replacement program on Pine Street from my number 1 well to Plain Street. That's one of the oldest pieces of pipe that we have in our distribution system. It's over 6,000 feet. I believe it's 9,000 feet actually, so it's over a mile. and this is going to help the distribution system as well. And I also have another small job on Home Street by the Norton Glen. Norton Glen's water quality really has suffered in the past few years, and it's just because they're on a dead end. There's a lot of users out there, and so what we're going to try to do is I think it was 18 months ago, we replaced roughly 800 feet of ductile iron main, and now I need a contractor to go in and finish the job, to tie into another main that's already out there. It's probably about 3 years old, and that will be looped. It'll be a loop system, no more dead ends, and the water quality will increase in that whole entire area.
The piece on Pine Street you mentioned before the meeting, what year was that put in?
That was probably put in very early 1900s. And, you know, it's 6-inch water main, starts out this big.
Yeah.
And probably since whenever, it's probably now about that big.
Probably like my arteries, yeah.
And, exactly. And that's pretty much how you can equate it.
Yeah. So, we've talked before, and I know you guys are doing some proactive stuff. We talked at our last meeting about, putting clean water in the dirty pipes.
Right.
And I think you've experienced a couple of programs, like the pigging program.
Sure.
Is that something you guys are considering to do?
I have that in my capital budget for next year. So, so as we go forward in the budgeting program, I believe it's in early February, I have approximately $200,000 that I've placed aside. We're going to take a strategic look on where exactly the water quality issues are in general, and then we'll make a determination if we can use that or if I actually have to ask the capital for some more. But I actually saw that done in Walpole. It seemed to work very well.
What he's talking about is ice is forced through the system, through the lines, and as it's forced, it becomes abrasive. And they blow it out a hydrant at the other end, and it comes out in a pile of manganese and iron.
Yeah,
Comes out in
basically
a big pile.
it's like a slushy when you go to Cumberland Farms and you have like the red, the blue, and then you just have the white and you watch the slushy being made. Well, that's what this company does. They come out, they have a machine that they make slush. And then what they do is they introduce the slush under pressure from one hydrant to another hydrant. You don't have to take the main out of service. You just ask the residents not to use the water while this is in progress. Very effective. Very good friend of mine, Rick Mattson, who's the superintendent over Walpole, had very good results with it. And I know that I believe the company came in, gave you a demonstration. They demonstrated it to me as well, and also I saw it in the field. So it's definitely a tool in the toolbox. With the new water treatment plant coming online, you want to try to get your pipes as clean as possible. And that's one of the, like I said, it's a tool in the toolbox that we'll be utilizing, I would say, probably between April and June of next year.
I'm pretty confident anything you guys need to get these pipes cleaned up, that the town would definitely support you on it.
Absolutely.
I have no doubt in my mind that we're willing to pay the extra, to get these lines up and cleaned up and running. We don't want you taking, because of a few bucks, taking the clean water and forcing it into these
Sure.
pipes that are this big.
Well, and that's what Weston & Sampson has done a phenomenal job. They've done a hydraulic study for me. They've also done a unidirectional flushing program, which worked excellent this spring. What the unidirectional flushing program does is it takes sections of town, and we can isolate them. We can actually increase the velocity of the pipe scour through the pipes.
Okay.
And it was very, 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 I mean, a lot of times people say, oh, they're flushing again. Oh my goodness, you know what I mean? But last spring was very, very successful. We had a lot fewer water quality complaints that we've had in the past, and it's all indicative of this new unidirectional flushing program. And also, Weston & Sampson is going to develop a master plan. We have the plant. We're doing pipe replacement. We've got this flushing program. We've done a hydraulic study, and now it's time for us to really take a real good look at the distribution system and focus in on where we can increase, our distribution system.
Where else in town do we have those 110-year-old pipes?
Right out front, Mr. Chairman.
Here?
Right out front, Mr. Chairman. We have a tandem water main right where the project's going to be to almost
Will you be
495.
replacing those when they do it?
What we're going to do is we're actually going to take the cast iron pipe out of service and put all the services onto the ductile iron main that's been there for 17 years. Now, 17-year-old pipe, everyone says, well, that's an old pipe. Why would you do that? Well, ductile iron is the best type of pipe that's out there in the market right now. And In doing so, it's going to create actually a better environment because I still have the old cast iron, which likes to take iron and manganese, hold it up, and then shoot it out in the wrong time.
Getting back to the manganese, when the treatment plant comes on, what kind of levels of manganese will still be in the water? Will be anything?
We're anticipating close to zero, almost 100% removal of iron and manganese from that plant. 3 of my wells, one of my largest producing wells, I'll have the well over on Newland Street behind Red Mill Village. That has almost absolutely no iron and manganese in it as well. And we're going to look at, on Pine Street, that's why we're replacing the pipe, I'm going to look at a small package plant for that one well on Pine Street as well. And what it's going to do is it's going to be very convenient because we'll be able to produce 2.5 million gallons a day from the treatment facility. We normally, on average, use 1.2 million. So I can take that one well on Pine Street, take that out of the equation, and if there's hot summer days, usage goes up, I can blend it, but I won't have to rely on it like I do on a daily basis.
Questions? Anybody? Well, thanks for the update.
Thank you for having me.
I think we're going to meet with you guys on Tuesday night to make an appointment for a new water and sewer commissioner.
That'd be great.
So
That'd be great.
I believe it, 4 or maybe 5 of us will be there, but
Excellent.
that's at what, 7 o'clock?
6:30, 7 for you, but 6:30 for me. Okay?
Okay, we'll see you then.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for the update.
Thanks, Bernie.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have a vote to authorize Chairman Robert Kimball to sign a letter to the Department of Housing and Community Development with respect to the CDBG Disaster Recovery Final Quarterly Review and Certification. Mr. Units.
Yeah, this is just, they've completed their project with the money that they received from DHCD, and
This is the housing at
Right.
West Main, right?
Right. And so this was all the drainage, sewer work, and water main work inside the complex.
This is what they've been working in the driveway
Yeah.
for a while? Have they completed the walkways and roadways, is that all done?
I'm not sure if the sidewalks are done.
I don't remember seeing the sidewalk.
And so this is just for you to sign to close it out.
Anyone have a question? Seeing the chair requests authorization to sign a letter to the Department of Housing and Community Development in respect to the CDBG Disaster Recovery Final Quarterly Review and Certification.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Okay, we have a vote to authorize the town manager, Michael D. Units, to sign the First Amendment to the Electric Service Agreement. Michael?
This is our energy aggregation for the town, and the company that, Public Power, that has the contract right now, they tried to exercise a clause in the contract that saying that they didn't know about a change in the SREC program that was affecting the price of the cost of the supply, and they were looking to significantly increase the price. And so our attorneys and met with their attorneys and came up with a compromise agreement to avoid any litigation. And what this more or less is, the rate right now is 0.1012, and the new rate will be 0.1043. So everyone that's involved, there's over 15 towns involved in this agreement. We've had numerous conference calls, and the lawyers have met with Public Power, who've agreed to accept this compromise.
Anyone have any questions? I don't know how the rate is affected by, .31, 10.3, well, it actually maybe 0.31. I don't know how much electricity that involves. I mean, we're talking Probably pennies, but it all adds up to them, I guess, right? Questions? Yeah, seeing none, the chair will entertain a motion to vote to authorize Town Manager Michael D. Eunice to sign the First Amendment to the Electric Service Agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Okay, on the old business, discussion regarding new construction on Route 140. That was about the, I don't think what that was about.
Was that an old, Carol put that on? And,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm not sure what that was
All
about.
right. That's probably from your previous meeting when you talked about the Mansfield meeting and the ramp.
Well, actually, we should talk about that, now that it's on there. We've been recently talking about, we went to Mansfield and talked to them about the new hotels being put at the end of Reservoir Street. And, you know, a few discussions have been had, but I think even Mike Eunice mentioned that we probably should send a letter to Mass DEP, State Highway, whoever, and ask, some consideration be put into, our request for sidewalks and improvements in that area. And I also think we need to branch out and talk about that northbound ramp off 195 that isn't there. And I know there's some areas of contention over in the town of Mansfield, and I don't want to step on their toes because I wouldn't like it if they did it to us either. But I do think we have to have an open, honest dialogue about whether or not we can put a ramp in there without having too many environmental issues. I guess that's part of the reason why it was never done, because there's a lot of waterways through there. I don't know the name of that brook that comes into the reservoir, but that was the one that was famous for contaminating the reservoir from Mansfield. And I guess they have to cross over that. When you come off the highway, you have to cross over that. Well, they put bridges over rivers all the time. So I'm not sure what the conditions are there today compared to when we talked about it probably 20 years ago. But I honestly think that we need to ask, I think what we need to do is ask our state reps and senators and the town of Mansfield to sit down with us and talk about how we can possibly, while we're talking about this area, if there's any way we can include looking at that northbound ramp onto what is South Main Street in Mansfield, while we're having an open discussion. We did have a meeting with the Selectmen a few weeks ago. We did not bring it up at that meeting, but I think it's important that we continue to discuss this issue. It may go nowhere, but I think we have an obligation, not only to people that use 495, but people that own all these, that live on all these side roads with Waze and all these other programs, and now we're sending them through neighborhoods where anytime the TPC or the Xfinity has an event, we've got to try to get some pressure off our back roads. And I think having a ramp over there would take care of a lot of the issues from anyone coming, from the east,
Right.
from the Cape area, the Bedford, Fall River, in that area, there might be some relief for that. So, Mike, if you could put a letter together maybe, and maybe we can send a request to our state reps in the town of Mansfield to talk more about that whole package over there and how we're going to approach it. Like I said, we did have a brief conversation, but we really haven't got into the details of it.
Yeah.
Mike, yeah.
At the meeting we had with the Mansfield Selectmen, we stayed away from that topic at their request, because they were already getting opposition. But even if it's just an information package of why the people are so opposed to it, I mean, to me, like you said, they put bridges and highways just about any place they want. And it's hard to believe they can't accommodate wetlands there. Because driving by at 65 miles an hour, I haven't noticed anything. But maybe if I was standing in the middle of it, up to my hips in swampy water, I might find it different. But it'd be nice to at least get some information on the area of why it shouldn't be discussed.
Yeah, I think it's time to talk about it.
Yeah.
And if it goes nowhere, then at least we've done our due diligence to try to figure out why we can't do it. And there may be an environmental reason why we can't, I don't know. We're gonna ask. So, not sure how you wanna handle that, Mike, but maybe get it up.
Yep.
Get the players together, and we'll have to sit down and have a conversation. We can invite them here, or we can go there, or whatever they wanna do. Our manager's report.
I gave you a list, the warrant closed today at 3:30. So I gave you a list of articles we have on there right now. Some of them may turn out to be placeholders in the end, but, the standard articles of unpaid bills and separation expense and operating budget amendments and capital funding, capital plan amendments, OPEB stabilization. And then we have some articles in there for the water and sewer department, streetlight conversion project, in case we need any funding for that we've talked about. Consultant for solar electric procurement services. This would be to put a solar facility on the Slattery property behind water and sewer. We also have on there parking. We want to develop a bylaw for event parking along 140. And there's a couple petition articles.
On the petition article, I see one here for personnel employment contracts for all departments. So that's not online now?
We would have them on, but the person that does that has been out, but we can get them all online. There's
I
no
mean,
issue with
it's a
that.
petition, so we have to honor it, but I would see if we can put them on there
Right.
anyway. And what's the second one? Do you have any information on the procurement contract greater than 5,000?
Yeah, the second one, their request is that any time the town has a procurement contract of $5,000 or more, that it be put on the town website. The issue with that one I have is if it's a large contract, it's either capital or it's an article. So that information is available. If you start getting down to 5,000, that's,
It's the daily operations.
right, there's a lot of small, that's pretty small.
Well, that involves, that would be quite a bit of paperwork, because just as an example, the school department, imagine what they spend
Right.
for supplies in the course of a day. I can't imagine how many $5,000 or more, expenditures they have as far as contracts go. It's probably something we should look at, but I'm not sure I'm not clear about why we're doing it, but
But it would, procuring, just buying supplies, doesn't necessarily make it a contract, correct? It's probably like supply contracts are annually voted on for an entire year. And then during that year, you buy supplies as you need.
Right.
From the bid prices. So it really wouldn't be for individual purchases like that.
yeah, if you think about the way we do business, we
I
actually,
get,
it would be encumbering the money,
yeah.
is what we do. We encumber by creating a purchase order. Say I give you $5,000 to do work at the town common. We have to write up a purchase order for that to be utilized, and we're not going to spend the whole 5,000, we're going to take pieces of it at a time in advance, so I'm not sure how much of this is really achievable.
I guess I'd have to read it
I
to,
think we'll have to look at it. Okay.
Just a couple other things. I'd like to thank Home Market Foods. The fire department was out there for training on the ammonia system they have there, and they provided probably a cost of $3,500. They donated ammonia hazmat meters for the fire department.
Oh, wow.
So, I'd like to thank them for that.
This is the new facility that's going up on John Scott, off of
South Worcester Street.
The old Cisco.
Yep, 380 South Worcester, I think, is it? So that was nice of them to
Very
donate
nice,
that. If you drove down Elm Street, you'll see a trailer there because the EPA has started their work to clean up the grounds there, so.
You gonna do interior? Not they doing some work inside too?
The DEP is going to do asbestos abatement
Okay.
inside, and EPA is cleaning up the grounds.
So EPA is doing all the exterior stuff, and the DEP will do the interior?
Yep.
Now, that project, as you recall, is for the asbestos removal. You know, nobody owns that building right now. They want the town to take it, and we're not gonna take anything that's contaminated. We did that years ago with SPAC. We don't wanna do that again. But the agreement, what we're working on is, once the state and federal government cleans it all up, then we'll talk about taking possession of it once we have a clean bill of health on the property. And I think you mentioned before that, Mike, that, you know, if they do give it to us, we have to use it for our own purposes. We can't just take it, knock it down, and sell it. So, you know, one of the things we've been talking about is maybe that's where the town hall or the senior center or both could go on that property. It's bigger than it looks.
Yeah.
And that building is massive. And Mike's already had some people asking about the beams inside because they're old. I guess they're worth a lot of money. So if we can get someone to come in and tear it down and take the beams, but take everything else with them too, you know, that'd be a win-win for us also, so.
Yeah.
Beginning of a long process, but at least the state and the federal government are now intervening and trying to clean up the mess. So there's gonna be some tree cutting down there in some areas to get to certain areas of the property. And then once that happens, don't go into panic mode if you start seeing the building wrapped in certain types of material as they continue to remove the other components of the inside. So it's gonna be a long process, but I think it's, when it's all said and done, you know, we can then take possession of it. They wanted us to buy it for $1, and we said no. And in hindsight, we're glad we did, because now someone else is cleaning it up that we would have to clean up, so.
Right.
So it's all working out well so far.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that the police department, they are now equipped with Narcan also, and they've been receiving training from the fire department on the use of the Narcan, and 75% of the officers have been trained on the use of Narcan. So, to thank them for that. And just if any of you are interested, there's an auction on the 18th on the Tweeve complex. And there's, on the 11th, they're going to have a walkthrough from 11 to 2. And then on the 18th, they're auctioning off the building. So that'll be interesting to see what that goes for. It's 100,000 square feet, 24.7 acres of land, and the railroad siding, so
Does that have the waste treatment plant on it?
it has their own waste
It has its
treatment.
own waste treatment plant that's never been utilized for years, but it has one on there. If you got any loose change around, it's good, might be a good deal for somebody. Town can't afford to buy it, I know that, so. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, under appointments, resignations, and retirements, we have a request of Edward J. Smith for the appointment of the Water Bodies Committee. We have a letter here. Ed, you want to come on up? We don't get too many guests, so when we have one, we want to make sure we let people know who you are. Good to see you.
I'm sorry, I have to get within range because I'm half deaf from 45 years in manufacturing. so-
No, it's okay. I wasn't in manufacturing, I'm half deaf too.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Get it.
At least I have a good reason.
So you want to be on the committee, you've been here since 1976. Want to tell us a bit more about yourself?
Yeah, actually, we moved into Norton in '73, got married in '74, bought a house right on the reservoir in '76, raised 3 kids there. I think I was probably the first and the last Brownie leader when the girls got to be of age because they didn't have anybody, so I jumped on board Brownies for a while. Coached youth soccer back in the day. They're all grown now. My oldest is 40. My youngest is 30. I've watched the reservoir go from absolute, I don't know, I can't think of a term
Cesspool.
to describe a cesspool pretty much, to what it is now. I sail. I have a catamaran, and I sail on the reservoir. I watch people out there on paddle boards, and people are out there bass fishing and swimming. The water's that clear, and I'm really excited about that. I happened to be on the Norton Neighbors Facebook page, and there was some dialogue and discussion about the speed of the boats, the power boats out there and so forth and so on, and I kind of like followed it for a while, and Carol actually said, well, why don't you come on and sit in on a meeting, which I did, and I've been to 2. I retired a couple of years ago. I actually retired from 3.5 years at Plantation Products right across town here. I was a production supervisor there. My wife is involved with the Southeastern Massachusetts Arts Collaborative, SMARTS, she's getting ready to retire. I've been retired for 2 years. I do smoking cessation groups at the Norwood Hospital. I help out with the SMARTS program and stuff, but this kind of like hit me right in the face. I've got some pretty good project management skills, communication skills. I can write really good. So I thought that I could make a contribution. After being invited, and then after seeing your ad in the paper, I jumped right on it and figured I'd send you guys a letter of interest.
Perfect. Well, thank you for volunteering.
Well, I thank
We're
you for
just
having me
beginning
tonight.
there, too. We're just starting to get into it now.
Yeah.
We've had some conversation with the Mass Fishing Game, finally looking at trying to develop that piece of land on Mansfield Ave for a boat ramp.
Oh, no kidding.
And if
Wow.
we can get that going, and they pretty much, the program they're talking about could very much open that thing up where they'll build it,
Yeah.
we have to take care of it. So it's a
Sounds
win-win
like a
for
deal.
both of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're just in the very preliminary stages of trying to figure out where we can put a boat ramp on that
Yeah,
reservoir.
there's a lot that can be done out there, regulation, I watched one windy day when some folks went out there with a kayak and just lit a fire on one of those big islands right across from me and watched the island burn until the fire department got out there. And there's a big gaping hole now in the landscape out there that you can see. Maybe a little bit of regulation there. Maybe you got to call the town offices to get a permit if you want to burn out there, something like that. But there's stuff like that that can be done. The town's done an incredible amount between buying the reservoir and treating it for the weeds. Believe me, I'll tell you from a personal perspective. I used to drag on the weeds when I was out there less than 2 years ago. And because my rudder would just kind of like pick up the weeds and I'd be slowing down as I'd be going along. Yeah, that's gone. That's a thing of the past. So it really has become something of a beauty, and it's a destination for a lot of people.
And that's where it should be.
Yeah. So I'm getting old, and I figured maybe I could spend some of my senior years helping out over there.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
We have any questions?
No, I think it's great to have people come forward, especially somebody who has direct contact with the...
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, it's good to have somebody who has direct contact with the...
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
has known the history, and
Yeah.
I'm sure you could...
Seen it at its best and seeing it at its best so far. I mean, it'll get better, I'm sure. But, yeah, I'd like to play a role in that. Sorry, I think I run out of wind.
Hopefully your enthusiasm continues.
Yeah, a little dry, but I got my bottle over there.
The committee.
Entertain a motion to
questions?
appoint Edward J. Smith to the Water Bodies Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous.
Thank you, folks, I
Sure.
appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Talking to you.
Thank you for your help.
All righty.
Next, we request for Robin Lovering for an alternate on the Council on Aging to be considered as, for an appointment as a permanent member. I think we have one. Any idea how many people, Mike, are,
2.
there's 2? So we have one that's an alternate that wants to be considered for permanent, and we have another request for the other position. That's the 2 that we received letters on last week. Okay. So we will have an alternate position available, if anyone's interested? Okay. Any questions?
No.
Chair, entertain a motion to approve the Robin Lovering to be considered for a appointment of a permanent member on the Council on Aging.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Opposed? That's unanimous. And we have a request from Mary Ann Dempsey for an appointment on the Council on Aging. Mary Ann, how are you?
Good evening, everybody.
Thanks for volunteering. So tell us a bit about yourself.
My name is Mary Ann Dempsey. I live on Harvey Street,
and I've been in Norton since 1990, my husband and I, and we have 2 boys. And my business was, for 5 years I did accountant, and for 20 years I was a paralegal for a divorce attorney in real estate. Now I'm a realtor for 13 years. So that's all of my fun throughout my life. We love it in Norton. We've raised the boys here. Great place to live. And now that my youngest has graduated and going off to school, I have some extra time. And I thought very hard what I wanted to do with this extra time. I wanted to help do something. And I thought, and I said, the senior center. I'm going to go to the senior center. And then I met Beth.
Good.
And I've chatted, and I've been there for almost a year. Absolutely love it. And I will be honest and tell you that before I ever got involved with the senior center, I will tell you, I was one of those residents that said, oh, these seniors, like, you know, the senior center, they just, you know, it was driving me nuts. I then started volunteering, and I looked around at everything in there, and I thought, this is our senior center? This is terrible. This is terrible. You know, and so Beth and I have been just working together. You know, she asked me to, you know, to request this. I have a lot of influential people in town that I know, inside of town, outside of town. I've actually been collecting and getting a lot of donations for us senior center, whether it's for lunches, you know, paper goods, popcorn from the theater, whatever it may be. I have skills, you know, as far as the computer goes, so I've taken over the Facebook page to sort of build it up so our seniors know what we have, what's going on. You know, a lot of them, they can't get out all the time, so I think it's good that they can see it online. I just feel I have a lot to offer knowledge-wise and everything else, and I'm super excited about, you know, joining and being part of this whole thing, because I'm going to be a senior one day, and I'm going to want to utilize that. And I've kind of gotten the word out to a lot of residents, you know, younger people and everything, because I know they don't go to meetings, they don't participate, and it really gets kind of frustrating after a while. So I've explained to them, you need to come to the senior center. You need to see it with your own eyes. Don't just take my word for it. We do need it. I know it's going to cost us all money. Nobody wants to pay extra money. It is what it is. And if we could all just join together. You know, we go to these other towns, we see all these beautiful senior centers. Some of them are like clubs and everything else. And then I come back to ours and say, what's wrong with this picture?
An old converted firehouse.
Yes, absolutely. You know, you put the AC on, you can put it on 72, and then somebody's too cold or they're too hot. It's like, it's all old stuff.
Yep, definitely is. Well, I appreciate your volunteering, and obviously you've got some skills that we can use over there, and also involving you in, you know, hopefully getting the next project online, and that'll be the new senior center that
Yeah.
we're proposing. So
Well, last year I did the first senior drive for the holidays, because every year we do, you know, Tots for Children, and I get it, that's very important, but I said, nobody's really thinking of the seniors. Because we have seniors that are on limited income and they need things. So I took up last year, for the first time, I did a senior Christmas drive. And, you know, it was pretty good. I wanted it to be better, but I learned that I should actually do it at the tree light, and instead I did have a box at the fire department, and I did get 3/4 of the way full. You know, things for seniors, what they needed. And it's important, and I just really wish a lot of people would, you know, overlook the things that I did in the past and see what we have now. And I'm the type of person, I have a voice, I'm not a shy person, and I don't mind asking for something for free from anybody.
good. Well, our population is decreasing on the young side,
Yes,
and as old folks are becoming more and more, there's more and more of us coming up. So, you know, the senior population is starting to grow a lot.
yeah.
You know, and we have to make accommodations. And I know he wants to say something.
I'll
but you
qualify.
better be quiet.
I qualify in February. I was told
But I
that.
think it's very, very important that we start taking care of the seniors in this town. And it's not like they're not using it. They're using it to the best of its ability.
Right.
But the building is way too small. It's too cramped.
It is, it gets
No
very crowded
parking.
in there.
It's dangerous if they have to walk in from the back. And there's a lot of issues with this one, this building.
And you're right about the parking. I mean, the House of Pizza is nice enough to let us, you know, park over there sometimes and everything, but, you know, we shouldn't have to do that.
Exactly.
We should have our own parking lot that's, you know, big enough for everybody.
Yeah, if you're parking out behind the school building there behind it, it becomes muddy and it's dangerous back
Yeah.
there. So, but I think they can use someone like you. That's good. I'm glad you're volunteering.
Well, thank you.
We
I'm
appreciate
looking
it.
forward to it. I'm excited.
We need a voice, and we want to know more about your senior program. When it gets closer to Christmas, maybe you can come in and give us an update
Okay,
on what you're doing.
absolutely.
What you're trying to raise and all that.
Yep.
We can help you get the word out. Maybe we can get some donations for you that way.
Okay, cool.
You know, but I think
you.
it's a very good program that I never even considered in the past. I mean, we're always talking about the kids
Exactly.
and the toys, but we're never thinking about the other end of the
Seniors.
spectrum.
And I got a lot of, like hats and gloves and toiletries and socks and everything, and those are things that they could use. I mean, I have seen a lot of seniors in the wintertime, and I'm sure you have too, walking outside with a sweater on, no hats and gloves, and they probably don't have it, and they probably don't have the money to get it.
I think that's a program that people in town could definitely get behind.
Yeah.
So come back and, when you're getting ready to start your program,
Yeah,
come back and give us an update.
will do.
What you're looking for, what you need, maybe a list of items. Maybe we can adopt.
Okay,
They do that in other towns for kids, where it's just a number.
yeah,
But you can say, person number 500 needs hat and gloves and boots and whatever, and when people can actually adopt that person.
Yeah.
Without knowing who it is.
yeah.
And I
That's
think
always
that
nice.
might be something exciting for the town to do.
I think it's important. And like I said, the children, it's great, never forget them, but people tend to forget the senior citizens.
I agree. Well, thanks so much for volunteering.
Thank you.
And with that, before she runs out of here and changes her mind,
Beth did make one request. She told me, this was Beth's request, not mine. She said, you must get a picture of you with the select people. I go, I'll tell them, but she wants a picture. I don't know why.
okay. Well,
So
we
is that okay?
we can follow through on that request, too. So, anyway, we have a request from, Chair entertain a motion to appoint Mary Ann Dempsey for the permanent position on the Council on Aging.
So moved.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks so much.
Thank you.
As far as the
Thank
picture
you.
goes, we'll have to,
Congratulations.
we'll figure that out. Hang around for a couple minutes. We'll figure it out.
She's going to be great on that.
And next, we have a recommendation of Kathleen Eno, the chairman on behalf of the Norton Council on Aging, to have Dinah O'Brien represent them as a temporary permanent building committee member for the duration of the new senior center project. Do you have membership? piece of
Yeah,
that?
whenever there's a project being done in the bylaw or on the building committee, so with the senior center, they would have a temporary appointment representing them during the process.
Okay,
And if it was another,
okay. That's good. I'm glad to see there's someone there representing. Anyone have any questions? Seeing the change in entertain a motion to appoint Kathleen, let's see. Dinah O'Brien as a temporary permanent building committee member.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Okay, next we have an appointment of assessor's technician. What's that, Mr. Units?
yeah, Felicia Noonan, who's been a great find for us. She's been working in the assessor's office as the part-time staff person, and we have a vacancy in the full-time position, and we would like to appoint Felicia to take that role effective September 5th, 2018. She's done a great job.
So she's part-time now, this will make her full-time.
Correct.
Anyone have any questions?
No.
Mr. Ramo, you want to read that for me?
Sure. August 21st, 2018, notice of appointment, assessors technician. I hereby notify the Board of Selectmen, in accordance with provisions of Article 4, Section 2B of the Norton Charter, that acting in my capacity as appointing authority, I have appointed the following individual as full-time assessors technician, Felicia Noonan. The appointment was made on August 21st, 2018, in accordance with the provisions of the Norton Charter, and will be effective September 5th, 2018, unless the Board of Selectmen votes to accept or reject the appointment prior to said date.
That's a motion, to have a second.
Second.
He said he read it, so I'm make
Yeah.
him do the motion. Any further questions?
No.
Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Okay, Mr. Units. Next, we have appointment of office administrator.
I'd like to thank Mr. Kimball and Mr. Bramwell for going through the interview process, and we had a lot of great candidates for the position, And Jennifer is currently a paralegal. She also has a notary and computer skills that we think will be an asset to the board, and this will be the last meeting that I'll be writing notes.
We might even get some minutes out of it.
Hopefully she can decipher his scribbles
Yeah.
Yeah.
and type them up.
Anyone have any questions?
No.
I mean, Jennifer, we had 4 very strong candidates for the position. In fact, Mike, I hope you hang on to the other 3 applications because they're all very good in case we ever need, to backfill another position. But, by far, I think we had certain things that we felt the Board of Selectmen were looking for in their administrator, and that's what this is. And felt that she definitely fulfilled almost everything we were looking for, and then some. I think she's probably the most qualified, so,
If anything, she might be a little bit overqualified,
yeah. Yeah.
which was, I think, our only concern, was that because of her qualifications, we hope we can hang on to her for a reasonable amount of time.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
Chair, entertain a motion to appoint Jennifer L. Reed. You want to read this?
I can read it as, I'll move that the Board of Selectmen approve the appointment as follows. I hereby notify the Board of Selectmen that in accordance with the provisions of Article 4, Section 2B of the Norton Charter, acting in my capacity as appointing authority, I have appointed the following individual as Office Administrator, Jennifer L. Reed. Said appointment was made on August 21st, 2018, in accordance with the provisions of the Norton Charter, and will be effective September 5th, 2018, unless the Board of Selectmen votes to accept or reject the appointment prior to said date.
Motion, do we have a second? Motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Next, we have a position, appointment for full-time permanent water sewer technician. Mr. Bramwell?
Yes.
Actually, Mr.
Um,
What are your names?
Units. John Harrop holds a CDL license and currently works as a driver for BAT. And so out of the candidates that we interviewed, he looks like he would be the best one for this position in the Water and Sewer Department. And I do ask that instead of September 5th, the start date be August 27th.
27th?
Yeah. And he's also has a CDL with air brakes and also hazardous materials licenses, so.
Any question?
Nope.
Mr. Bramwell?
I move that the Board of Selectmen approve the following. Notice of appointment of full-time permanent water sewer technician. I hereby notify the Board of Selectmen that in accordance with the provisions of Article 4, Section 2B of the Norton Charter, acting in my capacity as appointing authority, I have appointed the following individual as full-time permanent water sewer technician, John Harrop. Said appointment was made on August 21st, 2018, in accordance with the provisions of the Norton Charter, and will be effective August 27th, 2018, unless the Board of Selectmen votes to accept or reject the appointment prior to that date.
Second.
A motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Selectmen's report and mail. Bramwell, you have anything?
I don't believe I have anything.
Mr. Steele?
Nothing.
Mr. Flaherty?
Yeah, I'd just like to commend Norton Police Department and Mass State Police for coordinated effort last night in the apprehension of a suspect actually in my neighborhood with a helicopter and dogs, and it was a pretty impressive, and they ultimately got the guy that they were looking for, so
Very good.
that's it.
They got the guy, huh?
Apparently.
That's what all those helicopters were flying around
That's
town
what they were
about.
flying around,
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay. Anything else?
that's it.
Just, meeting we had a couple of weeks ago regarding the veterans Housing. I did come up with 4 locations, 4 parcels that I felt might be suitable. And what I did is I turned it over to the town tax collector and to the town manager and asked them to have our departments just kind of review them to see if they're suitable. I have no idea. You know, they have to be at least 5 acres, and they all are. So hopefully we'll get something back on that sooner so they can, once they get the land, then they can continue to see if they can make the program work, so. So we can get back to us on that. Maybe have you guys just department heads just take a look at it, the list, and see if anything, I think we both know of one that probably would be suitable, but what do we know? You know, it's gonna have to, I think all the parcels are gonna have to be able to maintain their own Title V septic system. There won't be any town sewerage, so that one question alone is worth exploring, so. Okay. On the warrants and minutes, I would entertain a motion to approve payroll warrant PR 19-04 for the week ending August 11, 2018, warrant dated August 16, 2018, the amount of $608,412.34.
So moved.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Entertain a motion to approve invoice warrant AP 19-07 dated August 16, 2018, the amount of $340,055.62.
So moved.
The motion and a second. Very nice of you guys to do it that way. You're making his job easy on recording the minutes.
This just keeps me quiet.
Yeah,
I'm done for the rest of the
yeah, he's
night.
already filled it all in anyway. So, okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. And approve the, motion to approve the invoice warrant AP 19-08 dated August 23rd, 2018, in the amount of $564,214.55.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. What's taking off in the other room? What is that? I think that's
Vacuum.
the,
Vacuum.
okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Yeah, we have some minutes we have to approve. We have minutes from September 7, 2017, minutes from October 6, 2017, and executive session minutes from October 6, 2017.
I move that we approve the minutes of September 7th, 2017, as written.
Second.
Okay. Anyone have any questions or any modifications, changes? Seeing none, the chair entertain a motion to approve the minutes as written for September 7th, 2017, October 6th, 2017, and executive session, October 6th, 2017.
We've already done that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That's what happened, like a sidetrack.
You know, you have to make the motion.
Plus, I'm still trying to figure out what that noise is.
Sounds like the helicopters last night.
Yeah, I know. Good. Okay, next meeting agenda. So far, we have a 7:15 meeting hearing on
we
the
got-
application.
October 6th.
October 6th. We haven't done those meetings.
Oh, you could do them separately?
Have to,
I wasn't paying attention to it.
because I wasn't here for the...
Okay, let's have, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of October 6, 2017 as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we have one present. Okay. October 6th, make a motion to approve the executive session minutes of October 6, 2017 as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, there's 3 in favor, 1 is
Present.
present. Okay. Next meeting's agenda, September 6, 2018, will be a 7:15 hearing on the application of Kevin's LLC for a Class 1 license to be utilized at 187 West Main Street. And if anyone else has anything else you want to bring to the meeting, please, Mr. Yunus, no, yeah.
We do have residents from the Juniper Beach area coming to talk about concerns with early morning traffic.
That's been a mess for years. And we're gonna have to figure out a way to fix it. Hopefully, we can get a boat ramp in someday, but In the meantime, we gotta figure it out. All right, anyone else have anything else, feel free to come see Mr. Units and add to it. Okay, I declare under Mass General Law, Section 30A, Section 21A, subsection A3, that the purpose of the executive session will be to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining and to consider and a discussion of strategies in open session will compromise the purpose of the executive session, and the board will return to open session at the conclusion of the executive session.
It will return?
Will return.
If it goes well either way.
Read the second paragraph.
Reads, I move that the board go into executive session under the general laws, chapter 30A, section 21A, A3, for the purpose and reasons declared by the chairman, and with the board not returning to open session thereafter.
Second?
You know, you want to make a motion that we do return to open session.
And with the board returning to open.
We'll return to open session.
Why
We
are
have to
we
take a
having
vote. We have to take a public vote.
Okay. So just revise that to the board returning to open session thereafter.
Second.
Okay? I know we're not used to doing this, but we have to do it tonight, so. Okay, we have motion second. Further discussion. Seeing none. Mr. Flaherty?
Yes.
Mrs. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Bramwell?
Present.
And I too vote yes. Okay. So we are going to adjourn, folks, but we are going to come back. It will be a couple of minutes.
Why don't we take you want to take the picture first?
Yeah, we'll take it shouldn't take us more than 5 or 10 minutes. So, but if you want to just kind of hold that aside for now, we'll be back. 23rd, 2018, and I'm going to reconvene the meeting of the Board of Selectmen. We have just discussed a memorandum of agreement between the Town of Norton and the Norton Police Association. Mr. Units, you want to briefly explain what we just negotiated here?
Yeah, this is an amendment to the contract to set a flat detail rate for all officers. Under the existing contract, the detail rates are based on what an officer's salary is, and our concern always was that a contractor doing work in Norton doesn't know what the detail rate's going to be when he puts in a bid for work in Norton, and then all of a sudden he finds the detail rate is higher because it's an officer that's making more than the lower-ranked guy. And so this sets a flat detail rate for all the officers.
So a contractor coming into town won't have to do the math and try to figure out what it's going to cost when they're doing their bidding process. This will give them an opportunity to say, okay, this is the flat rate, this is what it's going to cost. What was happening before, you had young police officers making less, and the more longevity you had, they made more, and they were all basically doing the same job. But more importantly, I'm sure we have an administrator down in the police department pulling out his or her hair trying to figure out what the actual rate of everybody is. This way, it's a clean shot. Anyone coming to town will know exactly how much we charge per hour. And, hopefully it'll encourage our own officers to take advantage of the program, and by doing so, we're not bringing in deputy sheriffs and people from other towns to do the work, because even though they're great and they help us out as much as they can, I'd rather give it to our own people first. And then obviously, if we don't have the money or the manpower, then we turn it over to somebody else. So, would this also work for special police officers?
They're not part of the
So
contract.
they won't be part of it at all. So what do they get?
Right now, a special police officer gets $50 an hour.
Okay, well, it's closer than we expect. Anyone have any questions? And just for the record, Mr. Bramwell did excuse himself from this deliberation. So he's here. Thanks for hanging around, but you could have gone home,
I know, I was talking to Shane.
Oh, okay. All right. Any further questions? Seeing none, Chair entertain a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement between the Town of Norton and the Norton Police Association, as written.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. No further discussion. Mr. Flaherty?
Yes.
Mrs. Steele?
Yes.
And I too vote yes. I'll pass these around so you guys can sign them. Okay, anything else to come before the board? Seeing none, the chair entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Thanks, Shane. We're adjourned.